Hello everyone, welcome to my vlog. So it's Tuesday and I'm super excited to chat with you guys again. So first thing first, I just want to share with you great news. In the 10 days I will be going overseas to see my family in Poland. I'm gonna be actually entire Christmas over there and a little bit of January, which gives me some, I would say, additional time to do some headshot sessions. So I will be covering everything and I'm gonna try to do as many vlogs as possible over there, share with you guys my experience working in Poland. There's completely I have to say different place, some amazing places, and I'm gonna try to take advantage of this and do some interesting things. So stay tuned for the following vlogs. I'm sure there will be a lot of interesting things. So today's vlog, I would like to kind of go a little bit off the technical stuff and chat a little bit more about successful photo shoot. I know there's so many factors which basically depends on successful photo shoot, and I would like to talk today about things which most of us know about but not too many of us follow them through. And I just want to point it out 8 things which in my opinion sometimes are a little bit neglected and we don't, I would say, put attention to them, but in my opinion they're extremely important, and I want to point them out to you. So that's maybe give you a little bit of wider perspective on those little tiny things which make, I would say, your photo shoot way more successful. And the reason I want to talk about it, because most of the time photographers talk about the technical side of photo shoots, what aperture we would supposed to have in order to get this particular shot, or what kind of type of lighting, or what soft boxes we should use. But we don't talk about, I would say, the behind the scene things, which sometimes, as I said, they're a little bit neglected, and then at the end of the day there's something missing in those photo sessions, and I want to talk about it. So before I will jump into it, so if someone is looking for some technical stuff today, they're not gonna get it because I'm not gonna talk about it, and I hope you guys forgive me. I know most of you guys love those things, but again, I'm gonna try to actually also give you a little bit of additional information and some my experiences throughout those many years I've shot headshots to give you a little bit of different perspective on some of those things what we do. Okay, so let's jump into those tips. So the first tip is pre-planning the photo shoot. It's extremely important, and I know because we are so busy most of the time we forget about it and we jump into the shoot, and then we try to make best out of it, go with the flow. But I found, especially with the cinematic headshots, like you have to have a little bit of pre-planning. Like you have to scout the location, you have to come up with some specific background, you have to somehow figure out what exactly you're going to be doing, because I deeply believe, and this is also reflect your work, that if you pre-plan the shoot and you kind of know where you're going with this, that's going to give you way better results. I had situations where, again, I was just jumping into it and I was just trying to go with the flow and pretty much create something on the spot. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes we are kind of disappointed that we could do something more to make the shoots better, but that's what is basically the problem is the lack of preparation. It's a different story when you shoot at studio, you have everything set it up, but I found specifically with the cinematic headshots where we're shooting outside or we're trying to come up with some different and cool background, then the preparation, I have to say, is mandatory, and we have to make sure that we know where we're going with this and what the results they're gonna be, or at least we can kind of like pre-imagine what do we want to achieve on that photo shoot. So again, remember, try to at least do a little bit of preparation and know exactly where you're going with this. Okay, so the next thing, and that's another really extremely important factor, and this is what I always pay a lot of attention to my headshot session. Create environment which is warm, which is comfortable for the client. It's also kind of comfortable for you. There's nothing worse, and I've been into those situations, especially with, I have to say, those corporate shots where I set it up the place and there's people constantly passing by distracting us. There is some noise on the background. There is some stuff which really distract me and distract the client, and that's really gonna reflect your work. If the client and you are not comfortable and you're not kind of feeling safe and you feeling that, you know, you actually in your zone, then you're gonna definitely feel that on the final outcome. And I've been in those situations where, you know, there was just so much noise and there was so much distraction that the client just kind of like, you know, he couldn't focus on what's going on. He couldn't provide me, and I couldn't also get it, the stuff what I was looking for. So whenever you shoot, try to always pick the places where, even if this is outside or this is a park, try to pick an area where there's not too many people, whereas somehow you can kind of work in the environment where you feel comfortable. So that's another tip which I would highly suggest it to look into it. Another little tip adding to this is make sure, and this is also what I'm trying to do if I have, of course, ability to do that, play some calm and nice music on the background. That always helps. I don't know, I've heard even some scientific background that the good and calm music puts your mind and basically the people become more, I have to say, receptive to some of those things, and that always benefit the shoot. So I always also ask my clients, like, what kind of music do you like, or, you know, are you okay with playing some kind of nice music on the background? That definitely helps the shoot. So now going back to our shoot. Another thing what I found to make successful photo shoot, try to play a little bit with the lighting. I've noticed that a lot of photographers, and I was one of them too, don't take me wrong, like, it's not, I've been doing this all the time, I never played with the lighting. I set it up the way I thought it's good, and then try to do a little bit of adjustment here and there, but I never tried to play a little bit more with the lighting, and that was the biggest mistake. And I'll tell you why. Because especially with the headshot sessions, I found that each person is different. Everyone has different features on their faces. Everyone looks different. So try to actually play a little bit with that and make sure you find something interesting. And I can assure you that if you start doing this as a kind of habit, that, you know, like, you trying new things, you're trying to new setups, you changing the angle of the lights, you putting a little bit higher, a little bit lower, playing with the kicker light a little bit, and also that kind of, I have to say, gives you a little bit of practice to get better shots, because then you're gonna see the lighting a little bit better. You're gonna see what works, what doesn't work. And going to the basic, as I said, everyone has a kind of different face, and finding that perfect lighting, it's also sometimes tricky, and it takes a little bit of time, but you have to make sure you actually searching for something interesting. So I highly recommend, if you are shooting, try to play with the lights. Don't go kind of too crazy that, you know, like every 2 minutes you're changing the lights, because I found also the client's gonna get like, okay, what's going on here? Does he know what he's doing, or he's trying to, I don't know, like, figure out well, he's gonna try to figure out, like, you know, what he gonna get, or, like, you know, you have to be kind of careful with this, but at the same time make sure that you're still trying to kind of rearrange those things throughout a shoot. Okay, so another thing what I found is whenever, well, especially with the headshot session, the clothing is not a big of a deal. But I found I don't give restrictions to people on how many clothes they're gonna change. I found that changing the clothes gives you few, I would say, interesting things to, well, just go to shoot a little bit better. Well, first of all, when people change, that gives you time to give people a little bit of break from the shoot, so they don't have to kind of like, shooting for, let's say, hour non-stop. That gives them a little bit also time to, I would say, look at themselves. And I found that, whenever people change their clothing, they automatically, for whatever reason, they feel better about themselves. So let's say they have few sets of clothing, and then they change and they like, wow, this looks better. And that also helps your shoot, because you're getting kind of different looks, and just I found this whole clothing changing thing is always gives you that kind of positive atmosphere, and then people, for whatever reason, they like doing that. I found it's a little bit tricky with the guys, because guys are a little bit different sometimes. But as far as the women goes, the more they change, I found like that's really makes them feel better, and then it's just I would say natural thing. So just make sure I have to say, reserve people to like one set of clothing, and then you're pretty much done. Okay, so the next thing is, and this is also, I would say, another really important tip: don't get people planted into the spot and just keep shooting. I found this is a really bad idea, and it's always like after 5 to 10 minutes, people getting so uncomfortable whenever they have to be in the same kind of spot, that the pictures is getting worse and worse. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get these people moving as much as possible, especially with the headshot session. So I ask them to stand up, to sit down, to move around. That also gives you different angles, different posture, different poses. So just work with the client. The more they move, the more they do things, they look more natural. They basically, you're kind of distracting their mind from just focusing on the camera and just looking at you, because this is nothing worse. I found that, like, if people don't move, they automatically, for whatever reason, the photos, they're getting more and more awkward, and they cannot just kind of focus on the shoot. They basically they start doing weird stuff. So another thing that you want to get them moving. And the same thing I have to say, to make your photo shoot successful, try to kind of play with different face expressions and go from like completely crazy stuff like funny faces to more serious faces, to try to make them laugh. Try to do variety of things, and the more, again, you trying different things, you probably will catch some very interesting thing. So also another tip I have to say, keep your camera ready all the time, because those things between those transitions, those are the best shots. So let's say you tell them, let's try be serious, and then we're gonna jump into something funny, and try to make them laugh. And those in between things, that's where you want to have your camera ready, because those are usually the best shots. Another tip, which I found not too many photographers do, try to review your shots throughout the shoot, because that's something, if you shoot tethered, then basically you can look at basically what you're getting, and that's extremely important, because then you can see where you're going with this. I also show my clients the shots, especially those good ones, because that's what makes them feel better. That's what makes them basically it makes them work harder, and try to new things, and then try to I don't know, just push a little bit more. This is extremely important factor, and remember, don't like, oh, I don't want to show you this shot, because that's for them means like, okay, I'm not getting good stuff, and basically they starting kind of like closing themselves up a little bit. So when you show them some cool shot that really kind of give you another, I would say, boost of energy, and then that's usually just, you can see the progress is actually just you just keep moving forward, and you're getting better and better stuff. So the next thing, it's the number, I would say another important tip is, now we're going to go to the Photoshop. Basically try the new techniques. In order to get successful photo shoot and great images, you have to play with different things in Photoshop as well. So that's, I'm not going to go much deeper into this, but what I want to say is whenever you get those shots ready and then you start editing them, try new things. Try make sure that you're playing with the tones, the colors. Don't kind of get into, I would say, situation where you have like kind of factory, you're just producing the same thing over and over again and you're using the same techniques. I try to explore Photoshop a little bit, try new tricks, new things, and try to apply them to my work, and that's what makes you better in Photoshop, and then makes you understanding the Photoshop a little better, and also makes your shots, you know, kind of, I don't want to say more unique, but then you kind of like you're exploring the stuff what you like. But when you actually just stuck with, let's say, one thing and you're just doing over and over and over again, you basically you're just moving backwards, you're not moving forward. So that's another tip I have to say with post-production, to you know, explore new things in Photoshop. And the last thing, and this is, I would say, something which I just want to sums up this whole thing, try to make every photo shoot as an experience, something positive, and not only for the client but also for you, because that sometimes we forget about it. Try to add new components into every photo shoot. Try to new things in every photo shoot. Try to explore new ideas. Don't reserve yourself to I have to say, like some kind of idea which you stick with and then you just kind of like doing the same thing over and over again, because you're gonna get bored. You're gonna get, I would say, I don't know, just burn down after a while, because you're not exciting anymore, because you know what you're getting. So trying new little tricks here and there, and then try to, as I said, apply new ideas and then new concepts and then new things in every photo shoot. And I'm not saying like you have to just completely go berserk and try to do completely different things. I always try to do a little bit of, every time try to kind of add something, like something very small, and then, you know, over the time you start building those things up, and you see that your photography is getting better, and you basically progressing with the style, with the quality of work, and understanding what you're doing, and basically seeing what you like and what you don't like. Okay, I hope I could go forever with those things, but I think the stuff what I just mentioned to you guys, I always try to look into them and make sure that I'm following this little kind of like, well, I don't want to say agenda, but some kind of like list of things which I want to make sure I looked after them, because sometimes, again, in every photo shoot there's so much additional stuff which we have to look into it, but those are the little things which definitely will make your photo shoots more successful, and you're going to be much happier with the end results. Okay, so I would love to definitely hear your opinion, if there's anything interesting or there's anything which you would like to add to it. I'm always looking forward to your comments. Basically, I'm super excited to have this conversation with you guys, because you definitely opening my eyes to new things and new ideas and new concepts, and giving me also your own perspective, which is extremely valuable for me. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like it, please send me some comments. If you wouldn't mind, click the like button. That also means world to me. And yeah, stay tuned for the next video. I'll try to do another one this week, and then the following week I'm going to be traveling, so I'm going to do some hopefully interesting videos with basically from my trip to Poland, and it seems like they already around some interesting photo shoots, so I hope that's going to be something unique and something very interesting. So stay tuned. I would like to wish you guys a fantastic week, and I'll talk to you guys very soon. Bye bye.